Hello and welcome into Titan Game Day Live, a week we've been waiting for quite some time, live from Mill Creek Brewing Company right here in Nolensville. Got my man Luke Worsham in today, and man, do we have a lot to talk about. Titans traveling to Houston in a key game to earn the Tennessee Titans the number one seed in the AFC, a first-round bye, more rest for King Henry, and a chance to get reset for a possible Super Bowl run. We got a lot to get to today, live here from Mill Creek. Before we do want to thank our sponsors that put this show and every single show all season long on. That includes the mainstay, our home away from home games, where you can get 2-for-1 Mill Creek beer right there. Also, Mill Creek Brewing Company. We broadcast live for all the away games, the season finale live in Houston. That's why we're here right here in Mill Creek. And Nashville Power Sports. You got a unbelievable set of golf carts that can be customized for you. They are street legal. If you're thinking about this spring and summer, get geared up with Nashville Power Sports and the king of sports books. You hear it right here every single day. That is BetMGM. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports for new users. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. They have you covered. My man Luke Worsham, not covering the home games because it's an away game. You're live here. You did the Game Day morning show.
Yep.
Luke, how you feeling today?
First ever A to Z Sports Week 18 pregame show.
That's right.
Crazy that the season is still going on. It feels like it should be over, but it's not. And we've got a huge game for the Titans that is a de facto playoff game. Now, we've had a few over the last couple of years, win and end games. This is a playoff game in the sense of it's not win or go home. They're playing more regardless of what happens today. If they win today, they skip around to the playoffs. So this is literally a playoff game in that sense. But before we get going today, because we're going to talk about what the Titans need to do to get that win, to get that first round bye, we need you guys to share the show, because the unique thing about A to Z Sports is we're not just going to sit here and talk at you. This is a conversation between all of us. We're going to be asking you guys for your opinions, your takes, and the more voices, the more friends we can have in on those conversations, the more fun it is for everyone. So whether you are listening or watching this morning on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, we need to appear in the timeline / news feeds of your friends, family members, or other associates, because sharing is caring. Caring is sharing.
And Derrick brings it up, that smash burger right there, the food truck's getting fired up. We're going to have a great day today. Come out. There's still time. You got about 30 minutes until kickoff to come and enjoy the atmosphere live here from Mill Creek Brewing Company in Nolensville. Luke, let's get this thing started with, you talked about it a little bit. The fact of this particular game can earn you essentially 2 extra weeks of rest and preparation. You automatically advance to the next round of the playoffs.
Yep.
I will always remember Mike Vrabel after they lost in the AFC Championship game to Kansas City, sitting there and saying, this is not how you get to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the easiest road. You don't want to go on the road and have to face Tom Brady,
I remember
Lamar
that too.
Jackson, and then Patrick Mahomes. No. You need first-round bye, home field advantage throughout the playoffs, something that the Tennessee Titans haven't had since 2008. I think they're ready and raring to go.
Yeah.
But this is a Texans team that has played spoiler this year. They've done it twice late in the football year. They did it once against this same Titans team at home.
Yep.
We saw Ryan Tannehill was the worst game of his Titans career with 4 interceptions, and he did it a couple of weeks ago in Houston against the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's right.
Now the Chargers are fighting and clawing and scratching. Tonight's game against the Raiders is a win and get in. But the Texans have shown they can play good football at times.
Yes. Now, the Titans, we have to say, are significantly more talented, significantly better coached, have a significantly better culture than this Texans team. But you're right in that they're playing well. They play hard. They're not one of these teams, I don't think, where the players gave up weeks ago. I think there's still some pride going on.
Like in Jacksonville?
This
is not a clown
This is
game.
not that, no. This is not – I mean, I made a comment after the Titans played the Jags a few weeks ago that all the Titans had to do was breathe for 60 minutes because Jacksonville was not. But this is still a game that the Titans should win, and honestly, if we're being serious, they should coast to a win. with the stakes being what they are and the talent disparity being what it is.
Well, let's coast on into our first question of this pregame show. We are live here from Mill Creek Brewing in Nolensville. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but first are going to ask everybody, this is the biggest confidence level of any confidence level question I think that we've had all year, because this just means more. I'll take something from the SEC, because this means the number one seed and a first-round bye. On the NFC side of things, the Green Bay Packers have already done what they need to do. The Titans win. They have the tiebreak over the Kansas City Chiefs. So our question is, what's your confidence level in the Titans beating the Texans? It's as simple as that, because we know how much weight it carries. It carries more weight, again, since 2008. And now the restructure of the playoffs, it means even more, because there's only one team that gets a bye per conference. So we're going to get 1 through 10, 10 saying guarantee, it's already in the books, you already should start resting, or 1 in the other opposite end of that spectrum. Before we get to your numbers, Luke's, your numbers, I do want to tell you guys about where we are today. That is Mill Creek Brewing Company right here in Nolensville. They got burgers on the grill. They're already starting to warm up. They got beers on tap. It's fun for the whole family. It is an awesome atmosphere. We broadcast here every single away game. That is Mill Creek Brewing right here in Nolensville.
I look forward to having one of those smash burgers.
There you go.
In just a little bit.
Smash burgers on deck. All right, Luke, I'm going to send you to the comment section.
Okay.
I got a feeling we're going to have some high numbers. The line is 10.5. I've seen it between 10 and 10.5.
Yeah.
So big time favorites in those icy whites down there in Houston. What are the people saying on a scale of 1, 2 through 10? What's their confidence level?
Well, we've got a couple rule breakers. Mr. John says 12. Justin says 10.5, which I guess implying that they're supremely confident. A lot of 9s. Billy, Cody, Titans, Kyle, RG, Terrell, 9.5. Matt, 9.5. Got some 10s. That's what Steven says. Amy says 10. Eldon English, again, breaking the rules with 11. Earl going a little bit lower down, saying 6. 9 from Kevin, saying the Titans can always screw it up. And I'll talk more about that concept in just a second. Lewis says 8.89, getting we got some significant digits going on there, getting very, very specific there from Lewis. Eric says 5 to 6. Eddie says 10. Kevin says 7. And Wesley says 8.
All right, Luke, I'm going to give mine. I'm curious about your number because I am with the chat today.
Okay.
Power to the people. High numbers. I'm going 9.5. This defines if the Tennessee Titans are a Super Bowl contending team.
Okay.
If they come out and take care of business like they should get the first round bye, and they should set themselves up to be in the Super Bowl, whether it's in Los Angeles or in Dallas. I don't know where it's going to be. That's still up in the air. But this is the game you have to win. Mm-hmm. They are much better than the Houston Texans. They've beaten them the last couple of years in this same sort of scenario as the impact and weight of this game.
I think it's been 2 years in a row, that this last game was a win and in.
Right, and they won the division a week ago. They won the division last year, and this is their climb. This is Mike Vrabel's climb and John Robinson and Amy Adams Strunk's climb to get to the position where the Titans are respected. They get King Henry back here in a couple of weeks, and we'll dive more into that here later on in this pregame show. But I'm at a 9.5. They should, and I'll just preface my prediction, and I think they will win this game. And I don't even think it should be close. That's why I'm at a 9.5 as far as confidence level.
I'm at like 7.98 territory, Zach, because I woke up this morning and I was getting set for the Titan Game Day morning show. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way they lose this game, right? The stakes are so high, and they're so much better than this team. And then, like I was saying earlier, then I remembered every other time the Titans have played a bad team under Mike Vrabel. Now, they typically win when there's something at stake, right? The Texans games over the last few years against A.J. McCarron, and I actually think Watson played last year, but still not a very good Texans team that missed out on the playoffs, and it wasn't close. But over and over again, we have seen this Titans team bring the fans up and then bring them crashing to the ground by losing to the Jets, by getting destroyed by the Browns last year. And the Browns weren't a bad team, but that was still a game that the Titans just got blown off the field when they should have been competitive. It happened this season with the Texans, who were 1-8 when the Titans lost to them, over and over again. And I could bring up more examples if I had time to think about them. We have seen the Titans disappoint against a bad football team, and because of that, I'm jaded. Like, I remember.
What did they do last week, though, against Miami?
Miami had won 7 straight games.
And what did they
week.
do? They punched
beat Miami.
them in the mouth.
But that's what I'm saying. Miami, I think,
they beat Jacksonville and shut them out 20-0 a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, they did do that.
That's a bad football team that they blanked.
But Jacksonville didn't really even show up to the stadium that day. But
what makes you think Houston's going to?
What we were talking about before the show, the fact that they're playing hard for David Culley, the fact that Davis Mills is either 2-3 or 2-4, one of those two is a starter, the fact that they've played spoiler just a few weeks ago to the Chargers. This isn't a team that's going to roll over and die today.
Well, they did roll over and die last week against the 49ers in the second half. So they have that in them. I think every NFL team all year long has had blimps, even if you're a bad team, have had blimps of good football, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think that good football will be played today for the Houston Texans. I think the Titans will play good football because they know what is at stake. And plus, I'll sprinkle a little of this in here, Luke. What about the revenge factor? You talk about embarrassing. You know what was embarrassing? You were there. You were in the press box.
Yep.
At home, torrential downpour, and Ryan Tannehill couldn't beat, at the time, the worst team in the AFC.
They were 1-8 heading into that game. Houston was.
And they didn't really ever have a chance to kind of win.
No.
They were always playing from behind.
Well, they turned the ball over 7 times.
And they're not going to do that today. This is a revenge game.
Yeah.
And fool me once, don't fool me twice. That's why I'm going with a 9.5. I just think Mike Vrabel, with all of the buzz, and there's not a lot of buzz surrounding this Titans team notoriously.
Yeah.
There's more buzz now than there ever has been.
We were watching the CBS pregame show, and right when they started at 11, that was their leadoff, was they started talking about the Titans.
Right.
It's a different thing today. But, you mentioned I was in a press box for the Texans game. I was sitting right here for the Jets game. And I came onto this pregame show before that Jets game and said, I basically guarantee to win. And that didn't go very well. So I'm a little jaded. Like, I'm saying 8. Like, I think it's going to happen, but I'm leaving room for the Mike Vrabel disappointment.
All right, so let's get to one key that I think both, Luke, you and I agree on. The easiest way to win this game is to control this aspect of the game. But first, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about expectations. The Titans need to do what the Dallas Cowboys did last night. 52 points, get back on track, get ready for playoff football. This is their warm-up that means a little bit more than a warm-up.
Yeah.
And look, I know that there was nuance to that Eagles-Cowboys game last night, but you score 50-plus points, that is the kind of – you have Julio Jones back. You got A.J. Brown. He's playing.
Yeah.
Your defense is playing, which we'll get to. One aspect, though, that I think we both can turn our confidence level into a 10 or even off the Richter scale. We're going to talk about that. But first, going to tell you guys about Nashville Power Sports, a big-time sponsor for all of our game day coverage each and every week. Nashville Power Sports right there in Columbia. They can customize your personalized golf cart. And I'm talking about they can give you a lift. They got custom rims, custom wheels. They can put stickers on it to make it Titans themes. They can hook you guys up if you're looking for a golf cart this spring or summer, maybe to ride around the neighborhood. They are street legal. That's also another facet of what they can bring to the table. That's NashvillePowersports.com.
My hometown, Columbia, Tennessee.
There you go. Hometown sponsor. All right, Luke, what's one aspect where the Titans can take advantage and really solidify a win and a number 1 seed in the AFC today?
You wanting my opinion on that?
Yeah.
It's the turnovers, right? That's what I think, because I just said it. Last time these two teams played, the Titans had 4 turnovers on offense, all 4 interceptions from Ryan Tannehill. 2 were his fault, 2 were Des Fitzpatrick's fault. Chester Rogers muffs a fumble on special teams. And then if you want to add to the fire, they had 2 TODs, turnovers on downs, to throw on top of that. Titans gave the ball to the Texans 7 times it's not really a mystery why they lost the first meeting between these two teams. And so I think talking about a key to the game, because I do this every week on the Titan Game Day morning show, if the Titans can avoid having another turnover meltdown like we've seen them have a few times this season, I think they got this in the bag. If they can keep the ball to themselves entirely, 0 turnovers, this is 100% a win for the Titans.
Yeah, I do agree. I think one thing that they got to watch out for, and this is weird for me to say, but Rex Burkhead.
Yeah.
Rex Burkhead can be a problem. He's shown that, right? 149 yards against the Chargers. That's and it sets Davis Mills up for easier throws.
Exactly.
And you can't put an inexperienced quarterback like Mills in easier situations.
Look,
3rd and 12s, 3rd and 15s.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you watch that Chargers game versus the Texans a couple of weeks ago, they were converting 3rd down passes, but they weren't 3rd and 15s or really, really far behind, because that's something that I don't think this quarterback can do.
No. And look, respect for Davis Mills. He's been the second best rookie quarterback in the league this year, which I don't think a whole lot of people expected. He's playing above expectations, and he's putting them in positions to win occasionally, which, no one would expect with the Texans. But this is not a guy who's going to sit back in the pocket and beat you. He's not Tyrod Taylor, so he's not going to move the pocket. He's not getting to the edge. So it's going to have to be from the pocket. And if you can stop the run, if you can do what you're talking about and keep Rex Burkhead out of this and force Davis Mills to be playing 3rd and 10 and to beat you with his arm, it's not going to happen. It's just not. Luckily for the Titans, they happen to have one of the best run defenses in the NFL.
Yes, they do. And so Travis puts it very succinctly. Stop the run and protect the ball. Titans win easily.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Travis, you get a little – there's a love of the pregame show. We usually don't do that. Let's get to Ed Werder's report.
Yeah.
And this kind of dropped. Now, Ed Werder, usually, he's a Texas guy. He lives in Dallas, but he traveled south to Houston to cover this game and had some words that he tweeted out for Mike Vrabel. These were sourced from him. He went back and forth with a couple of people being skeptical of it. We're gonna see and diagnose the meaning of what Ed Werder reported on Derrick Henry. But first, do want to tell you guys about a great sponsor here for our pregame, halftime, and postgame coverage. That's BetMGM. You can see it right there. Code ATOZ Sports. Download the app today. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Plus, they got a special. We'll tell you a little bit more tomorrow morning about the national championship game when it comes on Monday night. They got new users, and they have a special for you guys to win some extra cash and benefit off downloading the app. Download the app on Android or Apple in your preferred app store. That's BetMGM.com.
Brian asks, why is Jayon Brown inactive? It's because they think he's their 4th best linebacker.
Well, Zach Cunningham has surpassed him.
He's been great.
And speaking of, there's a homecoming right there. Zach Cunningham, who was cut, led the league in tackles last year, cut midseason. The Titans took advantage and picked him up, and he's playing really good football in two-tone blue.
Really, I have a buddy who's one of those guys who watches a lot of film, and he sent me a text on Monday. He said Zach Cunningham is a freak he was watching the Dolphins game.
He's a ball hawk. Like, ball hawk is in heat-seeking missile to tackle. Find the ball carrier, get him to the ground.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really, really good at that. All right, let's get to Ed Werder's tweet that, it was new information. Maybe not. Well, let's get your opinion here in a second. Yeah. Let's throw it up there on the screen. Ed Werder tweeted out earlier this morning, said, a source said the Titans were not close to activating Derrick Henry. Head coach Mike Vrabel, to me, quote, if he was ready to play, we would have put him out there. We're going to continue to work and practice. That's why they have a 21-day window. He just wasn't ready to come back. That simple, end quote. So Ed Werder reporting of a conversation with Mike Vrabel. What did you think about that, Luke? I thought that was pretty telling of he just wasn't ready to come back. That simple.
I don't think this was anything we didn't already know. I mean, we had multiple Titans reporters. Teron Davenport was one of them. I think Kaharski had something like this, where they're tweeting out on Tuesday, hey, this guy's not playing this week. Diana Rossini even said when she reported that Henry was going to be designated for return, she said it was so that he could get back in the rhythm ahead of a playoff return. This is not news to me. It's news to the national world. But for someone like me who's, at practice or this week because of the snow on Zoom calls with these people, this is not surprising. This is on track with what they do. Mike Vrabel, that's a very stock line from him. If the guy is not activated, it meant he wasn't ready. We have 21 days. I could probably find you 4 quotes in my email inbox right now that the Titans have transcribed of him saying that. I don't think this is terribly noteworthy.
Yeah, Luke, we talked about this week. I thought what they could have done, I was pretty adamant about not playing him. I did not think they should have played him.
Yeah.
I thought maybe if they would have brought him to Houston, if it was maybe a home game, I think maybe they could have justified suiting him up, warming him out, and then sitting him down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they valued, and this just probably comes from their trainers and doctors inside the facility, is maybe he can get better work at the facility than traveling, flying, doing all of those things. Mm-hmm. Because if they win, the next time he'll have to travel is to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, let's say this. I'm trying to come up with an analogy for the not close, because that's what I think I have a problem
with. To big deal, small deal, or no deal of Edwards' report, and I'll throw this back up on the screen real quick for people just joining the pregame show as we get ready for kickoff here in about 6 minutes. Edwards said, a source said the Titans were not close to activating Henry. Head coach Mike Vrabel told Edwards, quote, if he was ready to play, we would have put him out there. We're going to continue to work and practice. That's why they have a 21-day window. He just wasn't ready to come back. That simple.
Yeah.
Big deal, small deal, or no deal, Luke?
No deal. And here's the reason, right? I'm going to give you this analogy. I was not close to eating breakfast at Denny's this morning because the closest Denny's is about 40 minutes from where I live. I had to do my show. I had to be here. I was not close to eating at Denny's this morning. But that was a decision I made. Theoretically, could I have?
You could have gotten up early.
Yes, but I was still not close to eating at Denny's. The Titans were not close to activating Derrick Henry. Not that he's out there in practice limping around and they're like, oh, gosh, this guy's not ready. That's because they made the decision that he wasn't going to play this week. They stuck to that decision, and there was never a waffling on that decision.
I do agree with you, Luke. I think this is a no deal. This is Ed Werder not covering a team and knowing Mike Vrabel. All of here at A to Z Sports, and I would say across the Titans media, they know how Vrabel is.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Ed Werder was covering the game like he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
He got this quote, and he put it out there to kind of shake some leaves a little bit. Say, hey, look, this is the information that I found out. But I think the real ones know this is kind of how Mike Vrabel talks.
Yes.
He's more of the Patriot Mike Vrabel when it comes to injuries. He does not give anything away.
Well, and let's be clear, the not close remark is Ed Werder's sort of synthesizing of his sources. That was not from Vrabel.
Yeah, but I told you this a couple of weeks ago. I told the A to Z Sports crew is I don't think they were ever going to play him. Like, I thought they possibly – an idea I wouldn't have hated is suit him up, warm him up, sit him down. But I didn't think they were ever going to because the benefit they've shown that they can win games without him.
I can tell you with almost certainty that there was no moment in practice this week where Mike Vrabel or anyone is watching Derrick Henry and they go, oh, no, this is bad. That did not happen.
I think they're excited about his presence.
Yeah.
And that what we saw this week. All right, Luke, we're about 4 minutes away from kickoff live here from Mill Creek Brewing right here in Nolensville. The burgers are getting on the grill. The beer is about to start flowing. We're having a great game day atmosphere. Let's get to predictions.
Okay.
Who wins this game? Titans minus 10.5. I've seen it at 10, 10.5 versus the Texans. Prediction time. Titans need to win this game to get the number 1 seed in the AFC, a first-round bye in the playoffs, and to sit back and relax and watch everybody else strain a little bit harder next week in Super Wild Card Weekend, which you'll have Saturday football, Sunday football, and Monday Night Football.
Yep.
What is your prediction, Luke? And to everybody watching at home, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, what do you guys think? Predict who wins this game and give us a score.
I think the Titans win, and I think they cover. I know I brought up my doubts, but I'm back in believing in this team against a bad team. I think that with the stakes being as high as they are, I don't think there's any potential for a letdown. The Titans know what needs to happen. They know how big this is. If I'm a Titans player, I would rather take my chances with the Texans this week than with one of these playoff teams next week.
Yeah, like the Chargers, the Raiders who just beat the Colts, or the Colts, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to face those teams in a game you don't have to play.
Take care of business, get some rest.
Right? Play hard and set yourself up. And honestly, in the second round of the playoff, the divisional round, you get the easiest opponent because you are the 1 seed.
Exactly.
So you get a benefit there. 31-10. I think the Titans dominate this football game. I think also Julio Jones goes over 29.5 yards. I've got that prop.
Ooh.
I got a $55 bet right there on BetMGM. Over 29.5 yards for Julio Jones.
That's a big deal for Julio.
Yeah, because I think they're going to want to target him and get him back into the rhythm. So I think he'll get targets. Now, will he catch it? I don't know. Will he hurt his hamstring? I don't know. But over 29.5. So that's my little prop that I'll sprinkle out there. We both have the Titans winning and covering against the Houston Texans, which means we both think that they will be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Let's find out. Kickoff is next. Thank you to all of our sponsors, including Mill Creek Brewing, the mainstay out there in Nashville. They have 2-for-1s all game day long, including Mill Creek Beer. Also, BetMGM and Nashville Power Sports. We will see you live here at halftime. Live. Notifications on. We'll see you at halftime.